Okay, good to be with you tonight. Johnny Robertson here live. We are on What Does the Bible Say? And I have gum in my mouth. That's a no-no. Let's see if we can get started here. We have all kinds of breaking events associated with the Martinsville, Henry County area. Tonight, we're going to lead out tonight with DBJ7, which is a local channel here in the area. I think it's Channel 7, but they're on Channel 6 here in Martinsville. Don't run over there because they're not playing it right now. They're not going to cover it again until 11 o'clock. So we're actually giving you the heads up right now of what's going on in Danville, Virginia. Why should that be important to our viewers on Religious Review? What Does the Bible Say is the broadcast, and it's put on by the Churches of Christ, but every now and then we do a segment called Religious Review. Why do we do that? We do Religious Review reviewing churches so you don't have to. We're telling you what's going on. And how would you know what's going on if it weren't for us? Because the pastors sure are not going to tell you what really is transpiring. We will tonight. WDBJ7 is in Danville, Virginia, because there are so many killings in Danville. It is just simply amazing, really, the crime rate in Danville. Danville, I don't know, I think Danville has maybe 40,000 people, and Greensboro is a huge town to the south of us, about 40 miles, and actually Danville has more violent crime than Greensboro. I wouldn't even venture to say that Greensboro is, would you say Greensboro is 1 million? Could you actually even look at it? You know, population for Greensboro is massive compared to Danville, Virginia, but yet violent crime, I've looked at this before, it's just astounding, the violent crime in Danville. Well, what's so big about that, you might be asking? Danville is supposedly the city of churches. There are more cities per capita in Danville than any city in the entire United States. They're all over the place, and they're
280,000.
Wow, was I off? 280,000. I spend a lot of time in Greensboro, and 280,000. Well, that makes more sense when you talk about the fact that they could get close to, in violent crime, they have more at times than Greensboro does, and so
Danville is 43,000.
43,000 compared to over 200,000, and the violent crime, we're talking about murder, we're talking about violent crime here, folks. Why would a city of churches be that way? And so we're leading off tonight with the fact that they're meeting at White Rock Baptist Church. We actually are off of North Main. White Rock Baptist Church is just right off of North Main. The other direction, we're on American Legion Boulevard in Danville. They're over on Wendell Scott and Locust. And, you know, it's the area there is often having different events associated with hardship. I mean, there's crime in that area. Around our building, there's crime. I mean, I've been over there before where somebody broke into a video store, and when they came out of the video store, they took off from the video store and they connected their bumper to the wall of the video store and drug a bunch of bricks that were mortared onto the wall all the way over to our building, and they left all that stuff in front of our building. On another occasion, the Muslims, when we were debating them, drew a big bomb on our building. You know how the cartoons used to be this round bomb with a little fuse coming out? We go to the building one day and there's this huge bomb that's been painted on the building. We had just debated with Malvester and the Sheik, Noradine over there. And this is what goes on in Danville. And right now, as a result of the crime in Danville, city of churches and all the crime, they're having a meeting, and DBJ7 is covering that, and we're going to put it into perspective for you tonight, and we'll ask you to take a listen.
We'll talk about recent violence in the city. Jessica Griffith is helping bringing everyone together. She says there needs to be open communication for change to happen. There have been 12 homicides in the city of Danville this year, the highest they've ever seen. In the last 2 weeks, 5 shootings have resulted in 2 murders, and police say there have been 0 arrests.
We want to give them the opportunity to express and speak from their heart about how they feel about the shootings, the violence, and just the overall view of the Danville community.
City Councilman and Reverend Larry Campbell will be leading the meeting. It's at White Rock Baptist Church at the bottom of the hour.
Okay, now I never did see where the mute button was.
It's up at the little green one at the top.
Oh, great. They did a good thing by changing that color. Okay, now folks, remember this is breaking news. This is something that's happening right now. I know you know that's what breaking news means. I need help with Jessica from Caleb, if I can get him. And the point of us bringing this to you is that particular personality is none other than Star News' own pastor in residence, Jessica Griffith. Now, what does that mean? Well, I tell you what it means. One thing, Mark McMinnis went over there today to try to see what the setting was going to be like, and Jessica was there, and she complained, you know, on tape, by the way, Jessica, if you happen to be listening, or somebody wants to call Jessica and tell her that we got you on tape, all that stuff that you were saying about what we try to do, friends, folks, neighbors, we try to put some perspective into this. You know what you're going to see lead off on WDBJ7 tonight at 11? You're seeing Jessica Griffith. She is a pastor in this area, and she hosts a drag queen show on this station. She's in Dancing with These Drag Queens. She's supposedly a pastor. I know Baptist pastors that dropped out of the Ministerial Alliance that her daddy was over when they started talking about her being a pastor and accepting in women pastors into the Ministerial Alliance. Okay, I'm asking, why so much crime in Danville? I'll tell you why. Right here, the kind of role models that you have. She is promoting homosexuals on every corner. She's had a gentleman named Tommy on this show in here, and I'm really wondering if I have these videos. And as I say, you have to excuse me tonight, we are running a live show as we go, breaking news on the fly, and we're demonstrating what the problem is in the United States, not just Danville. Our role models are corrupt. I mean, we've got the worst candidates that you could drag up out of the bottom of the swamp. Trump talks about draining the swamp. He's the king of the swamp. No, sorry. He and Hillary share the swamp, and we're trying to figure out which one of them is going to be the king. And Bill Clinton used to be the king of that swamp, and now these two they're wrangling and wrestling in the mud to see which one is going to come up out of that swamp and be our leader. Swamp leader of the United States. How about that? That's where we are. Who in the world? You know, I was watching a show. Let me see if I can get this to search right quick. I don't know if I ever had the drag queen video. So, I do? You do?
No.
Okay.
I just want to let you know that October the 27th here at Hollywood Cinema, the drag queens will be back.
Okay, I just heard that. As a matter of fact, I had a discussion with the owner of the station today about the drag queens coming back. Since the drag queens were here the last time, not Star News, but the theater that is owned by Star News has started selling beer, and you have to go through the theater. I don't have to go through the theater to get to the Star News studio, but the drag queens will have to go through it, I presume. And I asked Charles, I said, well, Charles, are you going to give all of them beer on their way in? And he laughed. And so I'm basically saying, is it going to be a drunken drag queen festival this time? And is Jessica Griffith actually hosting that, by the way?
It doesn't say. I'm looking at the Facebook page.
Okay, now, for some odd reason, I don't think I ever had the drag queen. You know, I really know that I do have the drag queen. I don't think I would name it drag queen. I think I would name it Jessica G, to try to get a Jessica. And you know, this is kind of hard, folks. There's two Jessicas that work here. Both of them are pastors, and both of them are involved in the same kind of stuff. You know, I think both of them were on with Tommy, as a matter of fact, were they not? So, and you don't have to answer all that. We actually have, you know, incriminating evidence sometimes that comes out of our shows for persons who work for Star News. And so what that means is tomorrow, the two pastors may gang up on the producer and say, why did you tell Johnny yes or no? Why couldn't you just be in between? Well, you know, at some point in the world in which we live, we were just discussing with one of the other personalities here at Star News, in this world, sooner or later, this party's going to be over. And guess what? You know what happens when a party's over? You start having to pay for the band. You have to start paying the price of everything. Pay the piper, as they say. Now, folks, we're basically, we're really in this pastor ordination. Now, here she is. This is a picture of Jessica. Let me just go ahead and put the picture up fairly large so you can see her getting her ordination. She tells about it on Facebook. And is that my volume? So here she is. She's pastor. She is news host. She is also host for the drag queens. And, you know, are we supposed to think that she has the spiritual ability, the mental acumen to direct us in the direction that we need to go? I heard that she actually had a lot to do with putting this together. I mean, something that was, did she have a drag queen speak? Well, we're about to scoop WDBJ7 here on the Star News Station, even though this is Religious Review. Guess who's coming up at 11? Guess who ended up heading up the speech at one point? none other than Malvester Dixon, the local Muslim. Is Malvester got a different name that he goes by? Malvester Muhammad. We want to make sure that we give the Muslims the right name. He doesn't want to be a Dixon anymore. He wants to be a Muhammad. Man, you realize how many Muhammads there are? Well, I can tell you this. Let me tell you this about your own book. In the Quran, there's more Jesus than there is Muhammad. How do you like that? If you're a Muslim and you think that Muhammad is more important to God than Jesus, read your own book. There are 20-something times that Jesus is mentioned in the Quran, and Muhammad is not mentioned but about 5 times. Now, if that's from God, that ought to give you a cue right there out of Muhammad's own book, who's the most important. And you've got Malvester Muhammad over there. Does the local Muslim have the answer to our problems at a Baptist church? I mean, how far off can you get? You know, what really saddens me this moment as I think about one aspect, Mr. Producer, is that all of our friends that are on chat, that were watching us on Chatmos Cable, can no longer get us. Part of our audience is no longer with us as a result of some fluke, malfunction. I don't know what it is, but it's very distressing that those individuals cannot watch the broadcast any longer through Chatmos Cable or through the antenna. Everybody who was watching Channel 18 in the antenna, all of our audience that was picking up Channel 18 is no longer getting to hear us. So we are greatly, we just basically attribute this to the influences of, the influences that we basically say are the evil world that fight against us. Well, we can tell some of our friends that you can see it on the internet. Caleb says he sent it to me on Facebook, so let me look at that right quick. Okay, I really do appreciate that, Caleb. Let me see if I can update this. So Jessica Griffith, here she is. She's our organizer for the answers of the problems, supposedly, that we're having. Now, I mean, can you make that out? This is Dancing Jessica. This is the drag queen. That's not a woman. This is I don't even know what that is. This is the Dancing Jessica. This is the, let me see here in just a minute. I have to click back. This is the Dancing Jessica. I actually lost mine. No, this is the Organizing Jessica. Here we go again. The Dancing with Drag Queen Preacher Jessica. Here is the Organizing Jessica. And where is the man of the hour? Who's leading us out of this melee? The Baptists are not. Who's the greatest speaker there? Well, I heard that Lawrence G. Campbell was going to be there, the apostle of the world. My friends, if you're watching here from outside of Virginia, you need to realize that in Danville, Virginia, we have the home of the apostle of the world, Lawrence G. Campbell from Bible Way, the apostle of the entire, chief apostle of the entire world, was at this meeting, and guess who ended up with the microphone? Malvester Muhammad. You know what? It sounds like that somebody that isn't really kosher, to use a Jewish term, must have organized this. Hello, Jessica Griffith, the person who is dancing with the stars of our area, drag queens, the dancing preacher, Jessica Griffith, and now you have Jessica Griffith, the organizer for all of our hopes to get us out of trouble and to fix things in Danville. I don't think so. Now, folks, here's the question. What should you be watching tonight? I can tell you should be watching What Does the Bible Say? You should be watching us review religious behavior. This is what this is all about. Now, I'm just going to defer to my friend Mark tonight, because when I was talking to Mark, we were talking about the different things that was going on. And he and Caleb were talking about actually going to this event. And, I'm a bit of a pessimist at times. And I suppose maybe I'm overprotective when you get down to it. Caleb is my baby son. And I really have seen some wild and crazy things in Danville. Now, I haven't seen, this happens to be in the black community, I have not seen in my lifetime in Danville, I haven't seen the wild and crazy in the black community when we're doing things with religious people. Unless Mark or Caleb can remind me, I haven't really seen the wild and crazy, but things are beginning to change. I mean, we do live post-Ferguson, but I have seen some crazy white rednecks in Danville, let me tell you. They had a Pennsylvania County Commissioners meeting where they were in there actually whipping up their fervor and their excitement about our First Amendment rights and our freedom of religion and being able to pray wherever we want to. And I was there to actually say something about the way that they were going to end up being in these government meetings, and they could all bow their head and pray to themselves without me having to hear their prayers that make no sense. And what did they do? I didn't even get to speak. They ejected me at a freedom of speech event. And I'm talking about there were some serious redneck KKK type individuals in there. That's just the way it is. I have to call it like I see it. A lot of these Baptists around here, they are some very, very unbelievably uncouth, unmannered individuals. Now, not all of them, but there are a lot. And why are they that way? Well, we've been doing some shows lately on the behavior of the Baptist pastors. They basically have some pretty strange ideas. But you know what one of the head-up strange ideas is? Here is number one on their list. And I say number one, if you may say, you may be saying, well, why are you saying it's number one strange? I'm not saying it's number one strange. I'm saying it's number one in the lineup of what they believe. They believe we come into this world totally depraved. You've never heard that? Totally depraved? You never heard that? Well, here's another way to put it. Maybe I should put it in the way that you all hear it all the time. Born in sin. That is exactly what a man named John Calvin came up with in the 1700s. Born in sin. Let me just pull up born in sin right here in the two states area. Born in sin. On my computer, many clips where individuals say that we're born in sin. Let's just see. I think I just actually have an entire playlist of videos that talk about being born in sin.
Question for you.
Okay.
I've seen you a few times on this show.
Mm-hmm.
How exactly is this glorifying Christ?
Excuse me?
How exactly is what you guys are doing glorifying Christ? How exactly is this bringing devotion to Jesus Christ, which is what we're supposed to be?
Okay, the one that's born in sin is actually on another hard drive. Let's see, how about this one? We'll just pull up one of their famous preachers and get him to talk about born in sin.
And sinners can't come back to God because we're all born in condemnation. The scriptures that I've used over and over again, the 9 witnesses, the 10 witnesses, the Bible is very clear that man by nature is a sinner. And therefore,
how do you like that? I thought evolution was the worst thing that could come down the pike. No, you're born in sin. According to these individuals, you're not evolved from a gorilla or an ape or your cousin, the snail darter. You are actually born from your own Father God with a depraved nature. Well, what does that mean? I mean, you know, you're saying that, Johnny, but what does it mean? Well, take a listen to, you know, you get these guys to explain themselves. That's Dan Parker. He's the local primitive Baptist. By the way, we're actually working on an interview with a primitive Baptist, most famous primitive Baptist. I don't want to give too much away. He's one of the most famous primitive Baptists in the whole United States. And he is, in his own right, he's talking about explaining to us some of the problems that are going on in Danville with the Baptists and why it is that they won't answer about once saved, always saved. So what do they teach? Well, let's let you hear another one that talks about born in sin.
Say, preacher, I just don't get it. I tell you, I'm not a sinner. I tell you, you are. And if you just said that, you just lied, so you sin. There you go. My baby is 3 months old, and I love her to death. She is so beautiful. She already knows who she's got to wrap around her finger to make it in life. Me. I tell you, you are. And if you just said that, you just lied, so you sin. There you go. My baby is 3 months old, and I love her to death. She is so beautiful. She already knows who she's got to wrap around her finger to make it in life. Me, Daddy. And so I'll look down into her little crib, or I'll hold her in my arms and look down at her. She's already giving me the little eyes and a little smile. By the way, I lie not. She does it to nobody else but me. Those eyes are just, she don't. You ask her mama. She's giving me those eyes, and man, she's smiling, and she's cooing. And it's like she already knows. I know I'll wrap around my finger. And you know what I've said about that little 3-month-old baby? My Alexandria, we call her Allie for short, but you know what I've said about her? I've looked in her eyes and I've said, you've got to be the most perfect.
Is that me or you?
You know, there's a lot of untruth in what I just said. I mean, I love her. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not going to sit there and call her bad names or anything because she's my precious angel. But she's not perfect by any means. The Bible says, even though she appears that way, that we all are born to sin. Are you listening? In sin, David said in Psalm 51, did my mother conceive me?
Now, he just said that his little baby was a sinner. Now, she's an angel to him, but you know what? He's not in charge of really calling out what people are. That's what he's saying. He's not really the one who calls out what we really are. It's God. And now he's quoting God. He thinks, and he's trying to say that God says that his little Allie is born in sin. And they go here. Now, he's in Psalm 51. We'll go there. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sins. And so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. You know, folks, if you just pay attention to the verse instead of just coming up with what you already believe, you already believe what you believe before you got to this verse. They convinced you in the book of Psalms that you're born a sinner. So when you get to Romans 5:12, you already believed it, and that's why you don't read the verse. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world. Would you stop and ask yourself how sin got into that one man? As it got into this one man, as it entered into the world by this one man, as by one man sin entered into the world, so death, and death by sin, so death passed upon all men. How did it happen? As by one man sin entered into the world. How is it the case? As by the one man. Well, however it happened, it has happened to us. So death passed upon all men. Well, can I show you what the Bible actually says about this? Look at this. In James chapter 1, it tells us exactly how sin got to that man. Let no man say, when he is tempted, I am tempted of God, or God cannot, for God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. But every man, which man? Every man. Which man? Adam. Which man? Every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then, look, then when lust hath finished, when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth death, sin. See how this is? You see, you have to pay attention. These guys will insert words. Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. How did death get into every man? Every man, including Adam, was born with the same propensity, the exact same nature. Adam's nature is just like ours when he was brought into the world. He was perfect. We are perfect. But what happened? As by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin. How did it kill Adam? Here it is. Every man, Adam including, he's every man, he's one of us. Every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust. Was Adam tempted? Yes, he was. How was he? His wife told him that the fruit on the tree was good to eat. What did he do? He took it. He was drawn away of his own lust and enticed. And what happened then? When that happened, the Bible says, then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. How did Adam die? Right there. His own behavior. How do we end up? Same thing. Every man. Now, here's the thing. Why is this so dangerous? If you teach a person that you're totally depraved, like he said his baby was, Tim Whiteheart, this is the guy we're trying to keep from coming back to this town. He's already been caught running around with the flute player for a year. He supposedly was saved that entire time, and he teaches born in sin. We have him right here teaching that his little Allie, his little Alexandria, she's the most beautiful angel that was ever created. No, but she's a sinner. From the womb, born a sinner is what he says. Well, we've killed Romans 5:12. That, as far as being Calvin's verse, that is absolutely false. James and Paul together absolutely explain this so beautifully. As it happened to the man, as by one man sin entered the world, as by one man. sin into the world. Well, how is it that by this one man sin into the world? James helps us with 1:13 through 14 through 15. Well, when the man is drawn away of his own lust and enticed, so that's how it happened to Adam. Yeah, every man, when he is drawn away of his own lust. Every man. Well, let's see why it is that you believe this in the first place. The reason you believe this is they had you before you ever got to Romans 5:12. That's exactly what he's doing. He's over here right now in Psalm 51, and he is trying to get you to believe that you were actually born, conceived in sin. Now, this is David talking. Have you ever noticed this? This is the book of Psalm. This is book of Psalms. This is Psalm 51. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity. Now, does that mean that he's a sinner? We're talking about his being shapen here. We're shapen, we're actually created in our womb, but that doesn't mean that we are the ones that are sinners. It just as easily could be talking about the way that it is the case that he became shapen. And in sin did my mother conceive me. Now, if I say to you, you know what, my conception was sin, does that mean I'm a sinner? My conception, in sin did my mother conceive me. My mother was involved in sin when she conceived me. Well, you know, all you have to do is read your Bible. Now, we're already showing you that this doesn't have to mean that you're born in sin, just by simply reading it. And we said they beat you by getting you in Psalm 51 before you read Romans 5:12 and them interpreting it so that by the time you get to Romans 5:12, as by one man's sin entered in the world, you are already planning, you are already believing that Adam's nature was destroyed and you were born in sin. Why? Because they tricked you on this, but see, all you have to do is read in front of this one too. What goes on in David's mind that he would actually say such a thing? Now, you know, tonight, there is no way on a breaking news story that I can do justice to this, but I think I can get to the point where you'll be interested enough that you might actually be willing to have a look at some interesting points that David actually brings up in his own life. David, in Psalm 122, verse 1, let's see, I said I was on the fly here. Am I in Psalm 120? Let's see, let's see here just a minute. Let's just do this. Fortunately, I don't have to be as smart as I used to have to be. I can actually lean on my computer. Some of these individuals say, take Johnny's computer away. Why would you want to take something as, you know, let's take your car away so you can't get here? You know, they say, if you take Johnny's computer away, when he's involved in a debate, he wouldn't be able to answer anybody. Well, how about take your car away and give you a buggy and you wouldn't be able to get here to the debate? Psalm 122:1, there it is. I was sitting there looking right at it. I don't know why I couldn't see it. Psalm 122, verse 1. I was looking at the preview there where it says a Psalm of David, Songs of Degrees. I was glad when they said unto me, let me go into the house of the Lord. Why was David glad when they said to him, let us go into the house of the Lord? Is it the case that David couldn't go in to the house of the Lord? Was there some stigma against David that kept him from getting to go into the house of the Lord? Is there something that was in his actual life that involved a problem about him not getting to go into the house of the Lord? How about Deuteronomy 23, verse 2? A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord, even unto his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Now, you've got a guy that says, I was glad when they said to me, let us go into the house of the Lord. Well, why would it be the case that it was being said, let us go into the house of the Lord, and you're glad, like, I mean, what's the deal here? Everybody gets to go in the house of the Lord, but not everybody. A bastard didn't get to enter into the congregation of the Lord until the 10th generation. Is it the case that is there some bastard problems in David's genealogical record? You're telling me you never read the book of Ruth? And you've never counted David's genealogical record in the book of Ruth that he is actually 10 generations from a situation that had to do with a person being born a bastard out of the union of a man named Judah, who would be his great-grandfather 10 removed, and a woman named Tamar, who was actually his daughter-in-law, and a bastard named Perez was born? You don't know that? And it's exactly 10 generations from that. Listen, folks, I can't believe that your pastor has not had you in Genesis 38. You know Genesis 38. I absolutely know you know Genesis 38. How is it that I know you know Genesis 38, but your pastor skipped it? Because Genesis 37 is where the coat of many colors is located. You know the coat of many colors, right? Yeah, everybody knows Joseph and the account with the coat of many colors. Well, why didn't you read chapter 38? It's 37 is where it starts. Well, we didn't want to read chapter 38. Why? Because chapter 38 actually, for unknown reasons to your pastor, because he doesn't study the whole Bible, chapter 38 just is, it's like the great news editor of the world named God decided to insert a bulletin in the middle of the story of the coat of many colors. And what did that bulletin entail? It entailed a story about Judah, who was actually the brother of Joseph, and an event that took place where he got involved with his daughter-in-law and a bastard child was born. I mean, how else are you going to know the genealogical record of King David? Judah is the great-grandfather of King David. How else are you going to know the genealogical record? Because, I mean, in Genesis 40, man, I tell you, my 38, my memory is really giving me some problems tonight. Let's see here. Text me. Shiloh will come out of, I just want to say Genesis 38:10. Now, I'm probably not spelling Shiloh right either, and I'm surely not going to find it in the book of Psalms. Let's just see. When all else fails, even when your electronics fail, just go to your Bible. Just my head will not let me go past 38:10. It's not 38:10. Actually, the record is going to be in Genesis, and it'll come to me in a second. Just too much stuff. News, breaking news, and Bible accounts, and all this stuff on the fly. Didn't plan to do this lesson tonight. The genealogical record says that Judah is going to be where the throne is going to be. The scepter is going to come out of Judah. And basically, the Bible is building its own account of how things are going to happen. And Judah, you have to have Judah's genealogical record to be able to see the king come, the scepter, the throne, the crown. And if the Bible says that it's going to happen, and I'm waiting on some of my folk that help me to tell me where Shiloh is in Genesis. Why can I not think of that? And I can't do my Bible program because I can't think how to spell Shiloh tonight. Let me try 28:10. Well, I'm not going to get it as far as my brain is concerned.
S-H-I-L-O?
Nope, that's what I tried to spell. Anyway, I know that they're going to help me in just a minute. And it basically lays out as early as Genesis that Shiloh is going to involve Judah. You have to have Judah's genealogical record to see if the Bible kept its word, if God kept His word, if the prophet kept his word. Till Shiloh come. The scepter and the throne is going to be in that particular family, in Judah's family. So it's probably going to be, it's going to be Jacob blessing his sons right before he dies, and that's why I keep saying 48. Finally, we get some help here. 38, he says 39:10. 38, 39:10. I just still doesn't sound right, but he must be looking at his Bible. 39:10. Genesis 39:10, not Genesis 39:10. Genesis 38:10 maybe. I heard that. 39:10. I'm looking at Genesis 39:10. Am I not, Brian? Are you looking at my screen? 39:10 is not Shiloh. Okay. I know it's not Genesis 39:10. Anyway, folks, you see how this is going? if I demonstrate to you that the king is going to come from Judah, then you have to have Judah's. I don't want Perez. I want Shiloh. I know where Perez is. I'm in 38. Shiloh is proving that the king is going to come out of Judah. We have to have Judah's genealogical record. Judah's genealogical record, and your pastor doesn't know this, genealogical record is in Genesis 38. And it demonstrates that it's a bastard child, and the book of Ruth actually gives you the count of 10 generations up to the time of David. And a bastard cannot get into the congregation for 10 generations, and David is the final generation where they will come to him and say, hey, 10 is up, dude. Come with us into the house of the Lord. Thank you, Joey. Yes.
Genesis 49:10, right?
49:10. Thank you. All right. Genesis 49:10. Thank you very much. Now, Caleb's calling in. Thank you, Caleb. What? Okay. Thank you, Joey. Genesis 49:10. Man, a lot of stuff going on tonight. And Genesis 49:10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come, and unto him shall be the gathering of the people. The first scepter in the entire Jewish history is actually coming out of Judah. Now, people may say, well, Saul got to be king. No, Saul did not get to be the king that Shiloh came from. Jesus is Shiloh, and Jesus came from Judah. And you have to have the genealogical record to be able to prove that it was Judah's family that ends up inheriting the throne. David is from the tribe of Judah. How do you know? You start with Genesis 38, you end up going to the book of Ruth, and you find out he was a bastard, or at least he was related to a bastard. See, folks, that's why. You might be saying, wait a minute. Well, you lost me. No, I didn't. Here is the point of this entire section. When David says, behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me, you might be saying, wait a minute, his mother wasn't Tamar. She wasn't involved in a incestuous relationship with Judah. What Bible are you reading? Do you not know that David is called the son of Judah? Do you not know that Jesus is called the son of David? Are you going to argue with me tonight that Jesus isn't the son of David? Oh, Jesus is the son. He really isn't the son of David. He calls himself the son of David. The Bible calls himself the son of David. He has to come from the tribe of Judah. So basically, he is the son of Judah. The way the Bible talks, that is the way the Bible talks. Someone says, well, I don't realize that. Yes, these people kept up with their genealogy, and they actually talked about themselves. Oh, Brian, before you go, let's do the phone lines. We'll go ahead and put the phone lines up. And these individuals talk about themselves in this fashion. In Exodus chapter 3, you actually have God talking to Moses about the children of Israel that are in captivity. Do you know how long it is from the time of Israel? Let me show you. Exodus chapter 4 in verse 22. Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. We actually have all the time that is passed from the time that Jacob lived, who is Israel. You have all this time, all these 4 generations that pass by, and look what God calls Israel. I mean, what he calls the people that are in Egyptian captivity. He says, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. He's talking about these people that are in captivity. He's talking about, let my people go. Who are my people? Let Israel, my son, go. Wait a minute, that's not Israel, his son. These are the children of Israel. Yeah, that's the way the Bible talks. Well, who is David? David is the son of Judah. Jesus is the son of David. See how that is? Jesus is, do you realize how many generations that Jesus is removed from David? And we're still calling him the son of David? That's because they keep up with who they are. And can I tell you that David knew that it had been 10 generations since this incestuous relationship into which a bastard was born? He knew that. And when he's talking about Psalm 51:5, he is not talking about whatever it is your preacher is saying about born in sin. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity. He's talking about a relationship that kept him out of the congregation. He's fully aware of it, and he knows that his mother, which would be Tamar, was a person who actually conceived a child in a sinful relationship. Now, folks, that is Bible. And it doesn't contradict Bible. And that's the beauty of knowing the truth. Now, tonight, here's the thing. This is the problem that we're having in Danville. You have individuals being taught that they are depraved in their nature. I mean, that's just when you get down to it. It's the old Flip Wilson situation that has been played out. And how many people say, well, who in the world is Flip Wilson? Let me just show you how this actually got all the way into Hollywood. Flip Wilson, famous comedian, the devil made me do it. He made it famous, born in sin. Flip Wilson, the devil made me do it. Let's see if we get him.
She came in the house, she had the box, Rep saw it. Rep said, what, another dress? So this is ridiculous. 3 dresses in a week, another dress? And she tells him, I didn't want to buy this dress. The devil made me buy this.
That's Johnny.
Hey, you in bed?
What's that?
You in bed?
No, we're on live TV. Okay, I don't know, never know who's calling me. As I say, our friends in Danville, they are not able to get our broadcast anymore, and so they don't know that we're not in the bed. I don't know for sure if this is the clip that Flip Wilson did for The Devil Made Me Do It, but that is Flip Wilson, my friends. I grew up on Flip Wilson. I'm going to tell you, it's getting late, Mr. Producer Man. There's his famous slogan, the devil made me do it. Why is he saying that? Folks, the reason why he's saying that is that's because what everybody says. He's making fun. This guy is actually mocking the religious people of the day. The devil made them do it. Everybody is blaming what they do on being born in sin. Now, these Baptist preachers basically are just saying you're acting out your nature. That is not true. We are not born in sin. Why do we have the problems that we have in Danville? Right here. You have a woman right here. 1 minute she's dancing with the drag queens. The next minute she's got her news hat on. And the next minute she's got a Bible in her hand telling you that you're born in sin. She was a Baptist preacher's daughter. They're telling you that the Bible says that you're born in sin. The devil made me do it. It's our nature. Little Alexandria, the Baptist preacher Tim Weinhardt, is sitting here telling you that. And you know, I'm amazed that the individuals, man, did I get the text? 16 people tried to help me with that problem. I am simply amazed. Oh, all right. Now, tell me where Ezekiel says that you do not inherit the sin. You know I'm in bad shape tonight if I can't remember that. Folks, I've been going full-fledged since Saturday, hour after hour after hour, fighting on the fronts in Texas, within the churches of Christ. We've been in Elon, North Carolina. We've been all over Danville for the last few days. Got so many texts on my phone from Brian Edwards, you would not believe the back and forth. Thank you, producer man. 1820. The first was right, Ezekiel 18:20. All right. Now, when you believe in false doctrine, you will always contradict yourself. But when you believe the truth, you will not have one person in the Bible contradicting the other. Thank you guys, all of you guys, for helping me tonight. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The Son shall not bear the iniquity of the Father, neither shall the Father bear the iniquity of the Son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him. You guys out there are talking about, well, you didn't quote Psalm 58. Let me tell you something. Psalm 58 talks about breaking the teeth out of those babies that you claim are sinners. I don't see y'all doing that. It's just so ridiculous that these individuals will, and I really do mean thank you to the folks who helped me out tonight, because as we go through this, I found myself just, basically getting really weary from all of this and trying to keep up with the sinful behavior that is in this area, and giving you a chance to recognize what is going on. And tonight, this is the problem. It's in your area. It's in our entire country. Our role models are completely bereft of any dignity and morality. It's just they have believed this false doctrine that we came into this world totally depraved. And you know what? They basically, most of them actually think that they have inherited Jesus' righteousness by simply saying the sinner's prayer, and they don't have to do anything, because the next part of that doctrine is once saved, always saved. And so, you know, I'm going to let you, those of you who may be getting late, Brian, I want you to kill my audio, and I'm going to go ahead and play the WDBJ7 clip again and take myself.
In about a half an hour, people in Danville will talk about recent violence in the city. Jessica Griffith is helping bringing everyone together. She says there needs to be open communication for change to happen. There have been 12 homicides in the city of Danville this year, the highest they've ever seen. In the last 2 weeks, 5 shootings have resulted in 2 murders, and police say there have been 0 arrests.
We want to give them the opportunity to express and speak from their heart about how they feel about the shootings, the violence, and just the overall view of the Danville community.
City Councilman and Reverend Larry Campbell will be leading the meeting. It's at White Rock Baptist Church at the...
Now, folks, for a minute and ask yourself, how much influence can you actually have? I want to talk to you people in the Church of Christ right now, and I want to ask you, how much influence do you think that you can muster in your own area? Do you really have any influence? Is it possible to get enough? Brian, would you spell Lawrence for me? Yeah, Lawrence always gives me trouble. One of you guys can help me. This is going to be the worst show of my life. But how much influence can you actually have? You may say, you know, we're small. Yeah.
I believe it's LAWRENCE.
All right, that's good enough. All right, how much influence can you have? Folks, when we first got started in the Danville market, this gentleman right here heard that there was a contract on this station. Not a contract for killing. You folks in the mafia, get back now. I have a contract, and the contract reads, if you are a paying customer with this station, I cannot mention your name. Well, when I first came on, I found out about the chief apostle of the entire world, that he lived in Danville. Now listen, if the chief apostle of the entire world lived in your town, don't you think that he would be leading the thrust? But you just wait till channel 11 tonight, and if you're not living here, just dial up on your internet. Get on the internet and type in WDBJ7 and catch the local news at 11. It's 10 Central for you folks over there. I know you'll still be up, and you'll get to see Malvester Muhammad. We've debated Malvester Muhammad right here in this set. This guy is out of his mind. And this meeting is supposed to be run by Lawrence Campbell, and Malvester gets the microphone. Now that's what's going on, but here's the thing. How much influence can you have in the Church of Christ? When we became in the Danville market, this man bought up commercial time all around my show. Why? Because he knew that the only way to get me to shut up about the chief apostle of the world, who really cannot do anything but make money. This guy's living in an $800,000 house. He's driving around a Bentley in a very depressed town, 43,000 people, and we have one of the highest unemployments in the nation, in the Danville, in the Pennsylvania County, in the Martinsville area. All of the textile companies left out of here with NAFTA. All of the furniture factories left out of here with NAFTA. And we're left with the chief apostle of the world. And we've got all this crime, and he ends up buying up commercial time to get me to shut up about all the stuff that he's doing. How do you end up getting in a position where you're a threat to the chief apostle of the world? You don't have to wear a coat like this and a tie like this. You know what you have to do? You have to tell the truth. You have to be willing to get out there and tell the truth. And if you cannot buy airtime, then go door to door. I mean, seriously, is it not the case that you actually have heard when's the last time, I grew up, and I'll just tell you this, some of the jokes were bad. I didn't tell them, but I'm saying some of the jokes were bad, but I grew up hearing all kinds of jokes about the traveling shoe salesman. Now, if you tell people today about a traveling shoe salesman, they probably say, what? But Caleb and I were in Bristol, Tennessee. There are still people that are going door to door. These college students were making, Caleb, you can tell me, maybe $9,000 in a summer. How are they doing it? Going door to door, selling a book that I couldn't believe anybody in their right mind would buy. And these college students were saying they're going to make 9, 6, 7, 8, 12,000 maybe in a summer going door to door. If you can't get on the air, then get out of the pew and go door to door. House to house is what Acts chapter 20, what Paul said that he did. He taught them house to house. And they didn't have airtime back then, so I know it works. So here we are, a person that doesn't really try. These guys, this guy was from Liberty University, and it had nothing to do with Liberty University. It just had the fact that he actually was at Liberty. We were talking to him about the Bible one night, late in a hotel in Bristol, and he told us he was working for a group that if you didn't even try, you could make $5,000 going door to door selling these books. Door to door. And guess what? You'll get this guy's attention. But the way you have to get his attention is you have to find out about these guys in your town, that they're chief apostles and they're chief bishops and they're just these big, great, supposedly men of God who are like Simon the sorcerer in Acts chapter 8. And you have to start telling the next door. Once you find out that he exists, you go to the next door and say, you know what? He ain't nothing. He's not anything. This guy's scared to death that he's going to run into us. We have tried to get a camera on him for 2004 to now, 12 years. We've been trying to get a camera on this guy. He is shy, let me tell you. The chief apostle of the world, he is very, very shy. I know where he lives. I've sat in front of his house. I've been on his tax records, everything, and aired it all to the community. Does he answer back? Nope. You know why? Because he believes he's got you hoodwinked. And guess what? These folks don't have sense enough. I'm telling you, this is it. They do not have sense enough not to let this woman organize a meeting to stop crime. The dancing preacher, TV host, drag queen host, she's organizing this, and whose hands did it end up in? Not the chief apostle of the world. Whose hands did it end up in? The local Muslim. Oh, he'll deliver us. The Muslim. I mean, the next thing you know, we'll have Louis Farrakhan down here. Now, we've already debated the new Nation of Islam's leader. I forget what his name is, Muhammad something. I mean, there's so many Muhammads in the phone book with these Muslims that it's just ridiculous. And again, their own Bible has more Jesus in it than it does Muhammad. Why didn't anybody name their kid Jesus for a change? Now, that's where we are tonight. And I think that you should simply be able to see this is why we cannot fix America. Because these are our preachers, these are our band members. Now, we don't have a band in the Church of Christ because Jesus did not authorize that kind of music. He wants us to sing praise to Him, to God. He wants us to use our own instrument, our vocal cord. But, you know, the reason why they have so many drag queens, homosexuals in their bands, I don't even know why. Money. These individuals are the entertainers. I mean, you can see it right here. And the pastor knows that he's got to have that entertainment because his preaching is so bad that he's got to have the entertainment. So now they got the homosexuals in the choir. And so she knows homosexuals in the choir. I guarantee you she knows homosexuals in the choir. So why not go ahead and give them a show and she get up in their drag show, the Diva Drag Show, and just go ahead and be with them all the way. She's with them at the choir. Why not be with them on Channel 18 at the Diva Show? And as we said, this year they can walk through the cinema and get their beer before they get in the Diva setup, and it's going to probably be a wild affair this year. Folks, we're never going to get better. We're never going to get better. And you can tell that it's wearing me out. I mean, you've never seen me on the program this bad as far as going completely blank. And I will say we're on the fly, but still, they're wearing me out. It is wearing me out. But we are making headway. We are making headway. We're on our YouTube, and tonight we'll do a little advertising as we go off. Tonight, do you realize, let's just make a plug for our What Does the Bible Say? Headway. We're live right now, streaming all over the world. There we are, 2 Johnnies. That's enough to drive anybody from the show. We're streaming live right now in the Philippines. We've got a guy on my phone right now. He's begging me to talk to him in the Philippines. And we're streaming right now into the Philippines. We're streaming into Bangkok, Thailand. And tomorrow I'm going to get somebody in Bangkok to get in touch with this guy in Luzon, or however you say that name, in Manila, and tell him where the local Church of Christ is so he can begin to study with somebody that will tell him the truth. How about that? Now, it's wearing me out, but we're getting places. We have so many individuals that are watching the broadcast, and if you're a member of the Church of Christ, tell somebody about Bible Says TV. That's the name of our channel. Subscribe to the channel. You know, when you subscribe to the channel, you know what happens? You get a notification that we are about to come on, and you'll know exactly when. What is the Bible going to say? What does the Bible say is going to come on Sunday night at 9, Wednesday night at 9, Thursday night at 8. You'll get a notification that these guys are on. If we do a special show, you'll get a notification. There's a Baptist guy watching right now down in Louisiana. Peace in Louisiana. I'm shouting out to you. I think his name is, and man, just don't hold it against me tonight. Pretty sure his name is Danny. And that's probably wrong, but you know I know who you are down there in Peaceton. This guy was in the Pentecostal church. Now he's moved over to the Baptist church. And you know what? He keeps watching. He'll move right on into the Bible church, which is the Church of Christ. And we're praying for you down there. Hope that things work out for you. We're praying for the gentleman in Manila if you're watching tonight too. Folks over in Bangkok, Dennis, we're praying for you too, brother. We really do appreciate you. When I was thinking about the guy in the Philippines today, I really was appreciating having you in Bangkok and the people from the Philippines that work for you. We are praying for all the folk in the Church of Christ, and we're praying for all the folk in this area. We love you. That's why we're wearing ourselves out. That's why we're wearing ourselves out. We're trying to get the truth to you, get you in a position where you won't let Malvest or Muhammad run us into the same ground that is characterized by the folk over in Iraq and Iran and Saudi Arabia and Aleppo. If you don't know where Aleppo is, all of these places that are having all these troubles, you know why? You know who's leading them? Muhammad. And now Malvester is trying to get the microphone to lead us. You know, Malvester, let me just give you a picture of Malvester before we go off here. Let's see if I can bring up Malvester in a debate that we were actually in. Malvester, we have so much footage on Malvester. We have Malvester saying that Jesus didn't raise from the dead. And you know, it's just unbelievable that we have Malvester with the microphone. Nobody else but Jessica Griffith could come up with such a messed up situation as to have Malvester with the microphone, getting us out of trouble, getting us out of crime. It's just absolutely one of the most ridiculous things I think I've ever heard of. This is Malvester in the early days before he was involved in a murder situation. And you know, they blamed the murder on the most unlikely individual that I have ever seen, and the Nation of Islam actually distanced themselves from Malvester when he was debating me. We actually proved that the Nation of Islam doesn't even have anything to do with him. Now, he may get back in the good graces of the Nation of Islam now as a result of getting on CBS News. That's WDBJ7. They're the affiliate for CBS News, and Malvester is going to be somehow or other in the headlines tonight because it's already been on once, and for some reason they didn't run it in their segment that we found here before we came on. And so, folks, pray for us in Henry County, in Pittsylvania County, Danville, and Martinsville, and the surrounding Greensboro area, because this is the kind of thing that's going on over here right now, and we need the truth. The churches of Christ that have the truth, we need all of them to stop acting the way they've been acting. Get back into the Bible. Excise sin. Get rid of sin in your congregation. Start acting like the truth, and somebody might come over there and visit with you. And stand up, and if you don't have a television broadcast, go door to door so that we can be able to accomplish something in our area. And we appreciate you so much for watching. We wanted you to always ask for, always demand nothing less than, what does the Bible say? God bless you. Good night.